Hello, I'm Lisa Hull, and I'm going to do the Common Core discussion here on Screencast Math. I wasn't really sure how this applied to me, so I went ahead to community.ksde.org and saw how Kansas is dealing with Common Core. I teach science, and Common Core tends to deal mostly with math and English. The standards go ahead and profess to dictate what students should learn, and they're very concerned with how students apply information. But the standards themselves don't dictate the curriculum. They leave the curriculum up to the districts, textbook selection and how they're going to teach it and so forth. And even though they make a big deal claiming that it's not a federal mandate, through use of funds, federal funds that are tied to the Rise to the Top, the government had made implementing the standards very lucrative for states. It's kind of a carrot that they dangled, that if you wanted the funds from Rise to the Top, then you needed to also accept Common Core. So the state of Kansas did pass that legislation, but once the first wave of testing came in and the test scores, as they predicted, had plummeted, many of the stakeholders began to investigate the origins, the creation, and the motives behind the Common Core standards. When I was hired here in Kansas in 2014, our school was on hold as far as implementing the Common Core standards. We were mostly interested in the state standards, the 21st century standards for science, and our school was watching what would happen as the legislative body fought because of the cost and the control factors that the standards were going to imply. Last spring, the debate was raging, and they resulted in overturning the people who were trying to keep it from being implemented, and so as far as I know, Common Core has been accepted by the state of Kansas. Currently, my school has instituted a one-on-one initiative, and all my students have received iPads. And what that does for Common Core is it creates the proper testing situation, because all the tests must be taken on a device. And before we got the iPads, that tied up our computer lab for quite a while trying to take those tests. I know that we are meeting all those rules for test administration, and I know that the English and the Math department are involved in Common Core standards. I haven't seen any changes in the standards or the curriculum for me in the science department. If I were an administrator, of course, I would monitor teachers' lesson plans. I would also make sure that they were aligned to core standards. And this would create a comprehensive, coherent, rigorous curriculum program as is suggested by ISLLC-TD. Also, I think administrators need to be in the classroom, so during walkthroughs and formal evaluations, administrators can look specifically for evidence of student-centered learning, ability to apply knowledge to different sets of problems, and so forth. Following the test scores for several years to see if your state, or your school was scoring high as far as the state scores, would give an administrator a chance to develop teachers and mentor teachers whose students were doing well and their students were testing high on those Common Core tests. And that would also involve ISLLC 4A by collecting and analyzing data pertinent to the educational environment. So again, I haven't seen much change in what I do for Common Core, but it is here in the state of Kansas, and I feel that it's probably here to stay. Thank you for your time.